Hey friends, welcome back to the Gentle and Lowly Co podcast. I'm Addie, your host, and in today's episode, we'll be talking about the places and people God brings. So let's get into music of the week, and this definitely goes along with our topic for today's episode, but I got two songs again to add to the music of the week playlist. Our first one is Nothing Else, and it's the live version by Bethel Music and this other artist on there. He's probably the lead singer on there, Edward Rivera. Hope I say your name right. And this is just a classic, worship song that time and time again I go back to, and it just is such a beautiful place just to lead your heart into worship with the Lord. And man, okay, we gotta look up the lyrics for this one too. If you need a refresher, this is a song that goes like, I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. And then it's the, that's the chorus. But then I love the verse too. And so we're going to read it. It says, and I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And then it goes back to the chorus. And man, what a beautiful, I think, surrender that this song can lead us to again and again. And kind of to redirect our focus to Jesus, and where we do just genuinely want to sit with him, and just to get your heart in the right posture. And so this one's been really timely for me as we're kind of talking about, this topic, the places and people God brings. I think I remember this song probably the most in youth group and just growing up and at church. It's just one that's come up a lot, and that's shaped my faith over the years. So that's probably why it's a favorite. Yeah. Okay. The next one, this one, I do not know how to say this guy's name. Chidia Oagu, and also Stars Go Dim. I don't know, but we'll have it linked in the show notes and in the playlist. Like I said, it's called Already Blessed. And this song, it's kind of on the flip side, but still a really good heart posture, I think, song just to shift our perspective, and a really good reminder. It's a song to remember really all of the blessings that God has given us. And, it's in the title, Already Blessed. It's, hashtag blessed, not really, but that's, maybe overdone. But the theme of the song is already in the title, with being already blessed. And so I just thought, what a humbling reminder that this song is, especially if we just need that refreshing perspective to see, man, every day is a gift. And Jesus is with me in every single moment. And, to look back upon the seasons of your life and to see, man, he was so faithful then. And his will for me was simple, maybe, to just complete the next right thing in front of me. And it still is simple. And we can take it one day at a time. And so those are the songs that really stood out to me for this week. And yeah, moving on to our theme of the week. So this definitely ties into our episode and to more of our topic, but it really came out of this theme of the week. So Kodak, if you're a new friend here, Kodak is my golden doodle, and he's still a young pup. But Kodak and we've been taking a lot more walks outside lately because, warmer weather, and in Indiana, we'll take that whenever we can get it, but it is the summer. So, but just when it's nice outside, definitely going outside more. Plus, I've been visiting family a bit more often, traveling from northern Indiana to Indy and having a flexible schedule. So being back where I grew up, being in that neighborhood and just the house I grew up in, I've been reflecting quite a bit on what God has done just with Gentle and Lowly Co., with this podcast, and with just the business side of things, with all the designs we've gone to do and to launch and to share into the world and to, get to you guys. Like, that's so cool, and so many friends. It's just, wow. Like, I'm just kind of in awe just really thinking back to when I was younger, it might be kind of silly that I was kind of fixated on this age of like, oh, when I'm 25, I'll have it figured out and everything. Or when I'm 25, I'll be doing all kinds of cool stuff. Or when I'm 25 and older, like that just felt older to me at the time. And maybe that was the age, oh, you have your life together at that time. And I think that version of Addie would be probably pleasantly surprised, but also a humbling reminder that we're constantly learning and learning as we go. And God's always going to reveal stuff to us, I think one season at a time, 1 year at a time. But also like on the other side, like the flip side, I think I'd be really shocked of all the places that God has allowed me to go to and just the things that I never would have thought I would step into, being just a quieter person. But there's a surprise. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of things that I want to talk about, and honestly talk about Jesus and see what God is doing. And so I think that's probably the biggest surprise. But that's kind of where this theme is coming from, that our topic is, the places that shape and form us and the people God brings. So really first, like the places that shape and form us. And there's definitely more thoughts than this, but really just the first thought is I'm just realizing even more and more as I'm just going back to these places of where so much of my walk with the Lord has been cultivated and developed. And you just grow up, and the more years you have, the more things you learn and you see different perspectives. And so it has been really encouraging to see that God has a purpose for each place we call home. It shapes us with the community, the people, culture, and our faith, and how we commit to a body of believers. God uses it all, even if there have been some hard seasons at those places or those cities or towns. It's been encouraging to still see how God can even redeem different places, but there's an intentional purpose for all of those specific places we're supposed to be. And so it's kind of the first thing. And the second thing is just like how good it is to remember what God has done, to like physically go back to those places and to walk the same neighborhood, to talk to friends new and old, to see how time has progressed. But we're different on the inside, we're transformed. But these places, we became who we are today. Like it still kind of fits like an old baseball glove, or like we're riding a bike again, just kind of clicks all together. And what a beautiful reminder of the faithfulness that God provided to get us through a season, or to help us commit to a season, commit to people. And kind of the third thing, this makes sense because I think about all the different places I've had the opportunity to travel to explore and to visit, and I'm so thankful for that. And I hope that these examples, you can think about where God has met you and the places that you've been able to go and to see His character and His design and His creativity and the people and the culture and all the things, right? But honestly, like even just visiting like our neighboring states, like Ohio or Michigan, Kentucky, Illinois, that's for me because Indiana's landlocked, but also Tennessee. I mean, I don't know how many places, but Georgia, going to Savannah, there's just so many places. I mean, and internationally too, which is incredible. But there's something really unique to look at the connections that God will bring, or to go to church on a Sunday in a different place and to see what God is doing there. And this is just so much fun. Sometimes like when you're in a line for a concert and you have gone there with a group of friends, or just, you're a smaller group, you and someone else, and then you notice someone is by themselves. And, we have two options in that moment where we can all either, just stand silently, or we can invite that person into our conversation, because the chances are we're going to have a lot more in common than the differences than we think. Because one, we already like the same person at this concert, so it's like, well, we can definitely talk about that. But also just like what a good encouragement to just see people for where they are and to see them for who they are, exactly right where they are, and to not rush past the opportunities that God gives us to connect with, fellow believers, especially if it's a Christian concert, It's like, what's the worst that could happen if I start a conversation with a stranger in line at the same concert? They might be like, oh, yeah, I really like this person, this artist, but I got the ticket for free, or no, that's not going to happen. No, the chances are they're going to be stoked and they're going to be so excited and you're going to talk about all these things and you'll make a new friend, and you might get some recommendations to extend your trip to some coffee places or some restaurants, or figure out there are some connections back in your home state, or this person knows that person. Like, you have no idea what God wants to do. And it's like, how incredible is that wherever we go, the Holy Spirit's with us and He is working and doing His thing, connecting believers to one another. And there's just so much encouragement that I find in that. And so I think that is the encouragement for today's episode, is to reflect on when God moves you to a new place or even calls you back home. Or also, when there's a trip you get to go on and you get to visit a new destination or city, that can be really nerve-wracking to say yes to, or even to raise support for if it's a mission trip, or just to go on vacation. Sometimes, it's like, oh, should I really do that? Should I take the time off? Should I leave? And just the encouragement, friends, God is in the details. He is there with you. Don't miss the opportunity to encourage those around you. Let's continue to love others exactly where they're at. So if that means, when you're back home visiting family for the summer, or for just a fun trip, or just because you're close by to family, or just God has you go visit a place where your faith was really transformed, like, don't forget those places that God built you. Like, He has revealed to you so much of who He is. I believe it is so crucial for our heart and our souls to remember what God has done, because we forget so much. I know I do, and that's why we talk about journaling here all the time. Because when we take time to pause, reflect, remember, write it down, like, who knows? God knows when we're going to need that in the future, but we don't know when that past version of ourselves needs some encouragement, but we don't know in the days ahead when that prayer or that journal entry or that verse that we wrote down from just walking with Jesus and sitting with Him daily, when we need to remember that and we need that hope that we did have back then. That's just how we remember the gospel, and our hearts are continuously able to be molded and shaped into becoming more and more like Jesus. So those are some thoughts for today, for this week's episode. Be aware and attentive to the places and the people God brings. And I pray as you kind of wrestle with maybe a new season, or just being where you're planted, that you'll see that it is for a reason and for a season, and you can continue to love all those around you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful week, friends, and continue to carry the gentle love of Jesus wherever you go.